for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, to love and to constantly have to watch over to make sure they're following simple instructions? Yes, we love our husbands, but sometimes they need more babysitting than the kids. Whether they were trying to help, or just trying to be funny, here are 20 hopeless hubbies who probably shouldn't have tried. 20. This confused husband who mistook bath bombs for toilet cleaner cleaning the toilet, although not the most pleasant of tasks, doesn't strike us as particularly complicated. It's quite impressive, then, that this husband managed to get it quite so wrong. Although this prinky purple concoction is strangely pretty as a toilet bowl can ever be, that is, we're guessing this wasn't the desired outcome. It seems that even the simplest of household chores was just too much for this spouse. 19. This guy whose wife just wanted some flowers who needs conventional romantic gestures? Why should flowers and chocolates be the only ways to a woman's heart? These, presumably, were some of the thoughts from the culprit behind this curious, albeit original, gift. That, or he couldn't be bothered to go to the store. Either way, the advice here is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. 18. This husband who lost his battle with a fitted sheets. Those tricky corners love making laundry just that extra bit more challenging, don't they? Especially for this helpless husband, who, by the looks of things, has been totally defeated. It's safe to say he could have put in a bit more effort, though. At least he left a note, right? 17. This husband who had one job: buy a baby shower gift bag. That was it. That was his one task. Not too hard, right? Well, think again. In the land of mail, apparently there's nothing a little duct tape can't fix. We really do sympathize with this frustrated wife. And definitely don't find it funny, not one bit. 16. This husband who was left alone with the baby for 10 minutes. Many moms can empathize with that feeling of uncertainty that occurs when you leave your spouse alone and unsupervised with the baby. What will you be greeted with on your return this time? A Sharpie goatee? A stick-on Hulk Hogan mustache? This mummy, it seems, has 2 children on her hands. 15. This hubby who was just really hungry. This woman's husband can't seem to tell the difference between a baby and a table. Apparently every time this dad tried to move, the little tot would wake up. After a while, Dad got hungry and was left with no choice. What was he to do? After all, a man's gotta eat. 14. This dad with Curies priorities are the precious moments of bonding between a father and his newborn child. That, or the tot is kept in a drawer so that Dad can keep his high score. But at least he can keep a close eye on baby, right? 13. This husband who took things very literally, so when she asked him to put some spaghetti on the stove, we're pretty sure this wasn't what she meant. Was this silly spouse trying to be smart, or did he actually think he was doing the right thing? Either way, we're not impressed, and neither, we imagine, was his wife. Well, as the age-old saying goes, if you want something done right, do it yourself. 12. This resourceful partner: sometimes you just need that extra bit of beauty sleep. We get it. We also get that not everyone has an eye mask handy to keep out those pesky morning rays. But this, surely, is a step too far. Maybe this guy was feeling fragile after a late night and this was all he could reach? Or maybe, in his barely conscious state, he genuinely mistook his wife's bra for a good old-fashioned eye mask? All we know is, this woman needs to keep a closer eye on her underwear. 11. This dad who got a little carried away. Apparently some guys need even the basics spelled out to them when it comes to parenting. Indeed, even obvious ones like do not give your baby away at a garage sale seem to cause confusion. This man's unsuspecting wife left him to look after their baby for the day, only to return and find said baby offered up for free on the curb. While this little one looks all smiles, we're not sure we'd be if we were valued at the same price as a used mop. 10. This husband who had a bit too much fun. Another case of babysitting, dad style. This mom thought she could leave her theoretically grown-up husband to look after their child for an hour and maybe, just once, he'd be mature about it. But no, not this time. We imagine mom looked just about as surprised as her kid does. 9. This useless but apologetic husband. It's hard to imagine how one man could struggle quite so spectacularly as this one did. We're not even sure how this might have happened. Not only did he melt the chopping board and render it completely unusable, but he managed to take off the entire hob with it. This kitchen fail proves that some husbands really can't be left alone when completing even the most straightforward of household tasks. 8. This husband with zero common sense. Evidently, the request by notepad just wasn't detailed enough in this case. Unfortunately, it appears that this woman actually needed to specify that notepads generally work better when they're out of their plastic wrapper. The lesson here? Spell everything out very clearly. 7. This attentive babysitter. It seems this husband's idea of taking care of the baby wasn't quite what his wife had in mind. Dad playing with his iPad, baby several yards away on the wooden floor. It doesn't quite scream quality father-child time, does it? This babysitter could have done with a babysitter of his own, we think. 6. This punny partner. When this guy's wife asked him to go to the store to fetch some frozen yogurt, it looks like he spotted the chance for a little prank. A brave move. This could have gone either way, but we are not convinced we would have risked it. Amusing though it was, we think he probably should have just, let it go. 5. This joker who took his opportunity. All she wanted from her husband for Christmas was a new blanket. Just a simple blanket. It doesn't seem like too much to ask, does it? Well, true, that is a blanket. On the blanket, though, that's a giant picture of her husband's face. Probably not exactly what she had in mind. This prankster should be banned from unsupervised Christmas shopping from now on. 4. This helpful guy who offered to tidy the living room. Perhaps his wife should have known better than to buy couch cushions that you can draw on. She should have also guessed that when a husband actually volunteers to tidy, it normally means trouble. Maybe she was being optimistic for once, or perhaps she'd had a long day at work and hoped he was being thoughtful. But alas, he was just another husband who shouldn't have been left unattended. 3. This man who's no longer allowed to help in the kitchen. This unfortunate wife thought she could trust her husband to clean the dishwasher. Oh, how naive she was. According to her Instagram post, her savvy spouse decided fairy liquid would do the job perfectly. As is clear from the sheer volume of bubbles, though, he was very much mistaken. Indeed, this dishwasher disaster is one for the record books. I am seriously concerned about his state of mind, the poster wrote on Instagram. We don't blame her, and we don't envy her the cleanup either. 2. This guy who was just asked to help with a lipstick. This picture is almost too hard to look at. That's right, this brave woman asked a man to help her with makeup. Such optimism. Such naivety. All he was asked to do was sharpen her lipstick. How badly could it go? Well, judging by the massacre pictured above, very. Did he really think a giant kitchen knife was the best tool for the job? Or was it that he felt his masculinity slipping through his fingers and took it out on the poor lippy? We'll never know, but we do know she'll never make that mistake again. 1. This dad who got creative at the liquor store. So, apparently this is what happens when your husband, without supervision, takes your child shopping. Definitely not responsible parenting, but we have to admit that child looks adorable. And to be honest, we can't help but kind of want one of those mini carts for our beer runs. We just hope that kid has ID.